Breaking news out of Cleveland just changed everything. The Browns quarterback controversy, the one that's been dividing fans, rattling the locker room, and creating national media chaos, is over. But not because of coaching decisions, and not because of on-field performance. No, this story took a darker, more devastating turn. At what was supposed to be an ordinary practice, Dillon Gabriel, the highly debated signal caller competing for QB1, went down. No contact, no hit. Just a sudden, catastrophic collapse during a basic progression drill. 5-step drop, plant, boom, gone. Trainers rushed the field instantly. Practice stopped cold. Linemen dropped their helmets. The sideline went silent. Players knew it wasn't just bad, it was season-ending. And according to some within the organization, career-threatening. And just like that, the decision the Browns front office had refused to make themselves was made for them. Within hours, reports confirmed it. Dillon Gabriel is out for the season. Multiple torn ligaments. Instability so severe that rehab will take at least a year, if it works at all. The injury is serious enough that some insiders are wondering if Gabriel ever plays again. And the Browns? They weren't scrambling, because Shedeur Sanders, the media dubbed fan favorite, the 5th-round rookie with first-round fame, was ready. Maybe more ready than anyone realized. When the injury occurred, Sanders stood nearby, helmet in hand, reps coming next. No celebration, no smirk, just silence. But according to multiple sources, he leaned over to the quarterback coach and said one thing: "Everything happens for a reason." That statement is already dividing the organization. Some say it was cold, calculated, a power move disguised as poise. Others, they say it was spiritual, stoic, the calm confidence of a man who knew it was only a matter of time. Either way, the message was loud and clear. The Sanders era has officially begun. And no coach had to say it. The universe did. Fans instantly took to social media under one viral banner, #JusticeForShedeur. And suddenly, a moment of disaster became a moment of destiny, one that no one could stop. And only one man was prepared to lead. The question now isn't who's starting. The question is, was this football fate or something a lot more powerful? It happened on just another typical day at training camp. A routine practice. Sunny skies. No pads, no contact. Just quarterbacks running basic drop-back drills against air. But somewhere between step 4 and step 5 of a textbook 5-step drop, Dillon Gabriel's body betrayed him. There were no defenders, no helmet-to-helmet collisions, no freak accident, no bad hit. Just a simple movement and everything unraveled. As Gabriel planted his right foot for a standard throw, something snapped. Immediately, players heard it. Trainers saw it. Helmet dropped, arms flailed, and within seconds, what looked like a simple stumble turned into a nightmare unfolding in real time. The Browns sideline fell completely silent. Coaches quickly waved off reps. Teammates took a knee. Veteran players who've seen their share of traumatic moments said this one felt different. One offensive lineman reportedly turned immediately to a coach and whispered, "That's the season." Maybe worse. He didn't mean the team's season. He meant Gabriel's career. Trainers rushed the field within seconds. Medical staff stabilized the leg, stabilized the player, and eventually helped him off. The pain evident, even through Gabriel's attempts to stay composed. But within an hour, the team got news no athlete ever wants to hear. Multiple torn ligaments, ACL, MCL, LCL, possibly more. A nightmare inside the knee joint. Non-contact, full structural failure. According to reporters, the moment the MRI results came in, the Browns quietly shut down quarterback reps and shifted focus. Official statements came next, but every insider already knew this wasn't just a next man up situation. It was a franchise reset. For a Browns coaching staff long criticized for avoiding clear answers in the quarterback contest, The decision had just been made for them, in the most brutal way possible. One assistant said privately, "Nobody wants it like this." But we all knew it was going to end one way or another. Just not this way. Even Gabriel himself, who had made it known behind the scenes that he believed he deserved the starting role, knew it. Team insiders described him as inconsolable, not just because of the pain, but because of the timing. The opportunity was finally here, and in one step, it was gone. No fair competition, no final rep to settle the debate, just silence and inevitability. And while every camera turned to Gabriel as he was carted off the field, all eyes were already shifting to the sideline, where Shedeur Sanders stood, calm and still. Because the question was no longer if, it was, are you ready? The moment Dillon Gabriel went down, all eyes turned to the trainers, the coaching staff, and eventually, the cart waiting near the sideline. But not everyone was staring at Gabriel. Some were watching the rookie standing just yards away, helmet in hand, next in line for reps. Shedeur Sanders. He stood still, no head shake, no reaction, no whispered prayers, just calm, focused silence. From the outside, it looked like textbook professionalism. But what Shedeur said moments after the injury, when no cameras were rolling, is what picked up controversy faster than any highlight tape ever could. Several sources inside the Browns quarterback room confirmed it. As trainers huddled around Gabriel, Sanders leaned toward his quarterback coach and said quietly, "Everything happens for a reason." That phrase has since ripped through the locker room, front office, and social media like wildfire. Because depending on who you are, that sentence means something very different. To some veterans in the locker room who've watched players lose entire careers to injury, it came off stone cold, emotionless. A moment stripped of humanity. A calculated line from a player who may have seen this injury not as tragedy, but as opportunity. To others, it was the calm of a man who never doubted this day was coming. Not because he wanted it to happen, but because it was always going to happen. Maybe not this way, maybe not this fast, but eventually, that job would be his. One assistant coach reportedly said, "I've been around a lot of confident young guys, but that felt different. Like he's been preparing for this exact moment since he was 6 years old." Inside the team, the phrase now has its own life. Some quietly mock it, others repeat it in workouts. Fans have already turned it into a trending hashtag. Hashtag everything happens for a reason. And yet Shedeur hasn't said a word publicly. He hasn't addressed the phrase. He hasn't apologized for it. And he certainly hasn't run from it. If anything, sources say he's doubled down on preparation. Since the injury, Shedeur's daily routine has shifted. He's now the first to arrive, last to leave. Extra film, extra installs, organizing player-only walkthroughs over weekends. He's operating like he's known this chapter of the story was coming long before the page turned. Was it divine timing? A cruel twist of fate? Or something deeper? Something that says more about how the modern NFL works than anyone wants to admit. Whatever your take, this much is clear. Gabriel's injury didn't just open the door. It solidified in one haunting moment whose team this really is. And now, fair or unfair, cold or calm, every camera, every comment, and every play from this moment forward starts with one sentence. Everything happens for a reason. When news of Dillon Gabriel's injury broke, head coach Kevin Stefanski was thrown into the spotlight almost immediately. After weeks of dodging quarterback depth chart questions, talking around the controversy, and attempting to manage a fractured locker room, he now had no choice but to speak. And his press conference? It was exactly what you'd expect on the surface. Our thoughts remain with Dillon during this incredibly unfortunate situation, Stefanski said with firm control. This organization will support him fully through rehabilitation. As for the team, we have complete confidence in Shedeur Sanders to lead this offense going forward." Those were the words. Simple, polished, respectful. But what wasn't said may have revealed more than anything else. There was no interim starter designation. No mention of, "We'll see how things go." No, "the competition remains open" messaging. ... Every former QB, every NFL insider, every seasoned fan watching could see what Stefanski was really doing. He waved the white flag with a smile. Because make no mistake, this controversy didn't begin with the injury. It had been boiling for weeks. The locker room was split. Fans were taking sides. The media was hammering him non-stop for refusing to name a starter. And now, that pressure was gone. No podium announcement, no confrontation, no blame, no credit. Just a cruel turn of fate that made the choice for him and gave him total cover. Multiple sources inside the facility have since said Stefanski was privately relieved, that the coaching staff was exhausted from managing the tension between Gabriel's camp, Sanders' rising popularity, and front office expectations. One offensive assistant reportedly said, "We were heading for a Week 1 PR disaster unless one of them made the choice for us." And now, it's done. No fingerprints. And that's exactly it. No fingerprints. No public backlash, no ownership conflict, no more press drama. Just a clean runway for the Sanders era to begin. Whether it was fate, luck, or something in between, Stefanski didn't just survive this. He benefits from it. And he didn't have to say a word to let us know. For weeks, the Browns' locker room was quietly fractured. On one side, you had players who respected Dillon Gabriel's poise, mechanics, and football IQ, the traditional traits of someone groomed for a starting job. On the other, a growing movement of teammates who couldn't ignore what Shedeur Sanders brought every time he walked into the facility: confidence, leadership, and a presence that was undeniable. The quarterback controversy had teammates tiptoeing. Some avoided interviews altogether. Others dodged questions when asked who they supported. But now, the fog is gone. With Gabriel sidelined, there's no second guessing. And players across the board are already rallying around Sanders like he's been the starter all along. In fact, it didn't even take a full day. One veteran offensive lineman reportedly told a coach that same afternoon, "Now we know. Now we can just go." He wasn't talking about football fundamentals. He meant the energy, the focus, the trust. Receivers no longer had to split reps between two different throwing styles. Running backs didn't have to adapt to different pre-snap cadences. Linemen didn't need to guess who they were supposed to protect and how. And for the first time all offseason, everything started to feel synced. One Browns staffer said, "We didn't just name a starter. We hit the reset button on the entire offense." Shedeur didn't waste a second either. Reports say that within 24 hours of being named QB1, Sanders texted the full offense to schedule an unsanctioned players-only walkthrough that weekend. No coaches, no film crew, no media, just work. Veterans noticed, respected it, and most importantly, they responded. Now the playbook is being tailored to Shedeur's strengths. More rollouts, more RPOs, more vertical shots. A faster, looser scheme that unlocks his mobility and his deep ball. Ironically, some players are now privately admitting that this might be the best thing to happen to the Browns' offense in years. One wide receiver reportedly said, "The playbook finally makes sense for the guy running it." It's not that the team wanted an injury, but the clarity it brought, it changed everything. Because while winning cures all, clarity starts the process. The second Shedeur Sanders was officially named the Browns' starting quarterback, the media exploded. Cameras showed up early, reporters stayed late, headlines filled feeds within minutes. But Shedeur, he didn't say much. There was no victory lap, no "I told you so," no passive-aggressive quotes, just a slight nod. and the kind of response you can't coach. He went to work. Staffers at the Browns facility started noticing it immediately. He wasn't just early, he was first. He wasn't just focused, he was obsessed. Arriving at 5:30 a.m., staying late into the evening, squeezing every possible rep out of each day. One team official told local media he's on a mission. Everything from his film study to his recovery plan to how he talks in meetings, it's veteran-level discipline. And that effort hasn't gone unnoticed by his teammates. Wide receivers have been seen hanging around after practice to run extra routes. Running backs are joining him in post-practice walkthroughs to sharpen timing. Even the offensive linemen, the backbone of every team, have started echoing a familiar phrase: "We've got our guy." That's not just about skill, it's about leadership. And Shedeur's earning respect the way a quarterback is supposed to, by example. He's organizing weekend sessions at private fields on his own time. He's texting film clips at midnight to teammates with notes. He's showing they don't have to ask him to lead. He already is. One coach, speaking anonymously, said, "He doesn't carry himself like a rookie. He carries himself like someone who thinks this whole league has been waiting on him, and he's ready to prove it." And that may be true, because this isn't arrogance. It's conviction, the type that comes from growing up inside a football family, sitting in film rooms since childhood, and knowing a moment like this was always going to come. Now that it's here, he's treating it like he never wants to give it back. And that's exactly what this team needs. Not charisma, not clout, consistency, command, commitment. No one knows yet how Shedeur will perform on Sundays. But Monday through Saturday, he already looks like everything a franchise quarterback is supposed to be. From NFL Twitter to ESPN Primetime, the reaction to Dillon Gabriel's injury and Shedeur Sanders' sudden promotion has gone far beyond unfortunate timing. It's being called football karma. The very same media figures who once praised Gabriel's mechanics and maturity are now calling out his attitude, his locker room behavior, and how he handled the quarterback competition. On First Take, Stephen A. Smith didn't soften his stance. Football made the call Kevin Stefanski was too scared to make. Gabriel acted like the job was already his. The universe handled it. Shannon Sharpe echoed that sentiment on his podcast. Some things are so inevitable, it's better when the game forces the issue. Shedeur didn't need to talk. He just waited. And now look, the kid's on the throne. Even former quarterbacks like Robert Griffin III weighed in, offering a more nuanced take. Look, no one celebrates injury, but sometimes the wrong people are holding up the system. This cleared the path for the guy who should have been leading it all along. Meanwhile, fans were even more direct and unapologetic. On social media, hashtags like #JusticeForShedeur and #KarmaCameQuick started trending minutes after the injury news broke. One viral tweet summed up the mood. Gabriel didn't respect the process. The football gods don't play around. Others were ruthless. He wanted the spotlight, now he can watch it from a hospital bed. Harsh? Maybe, but that's how raw the fan base has been throughout this quarterback battle. They've watched Shedeur outwork, outshine, and outsell everyone in the room, and still sit on the bench. So when fate or misfortune flipped the script, they didn't blink. To many fans, this isn't just a depth chart update, it's poetic. It symbolizes something deeper. Symbolism that says talent will always rise, that stars can't be hidden forever, not even by coaches. Still, not everyone agrees. Some analysts have pushed back, saying the narrative has become too convenient, too celebratory of a serious injury. They argue that while Sanders deserves his now earned opportunity, celebrating Gabriel's downfall is tone deaf. But like it or not, the league is watching. And as unfair as it might sound, narrative matters. Shedeur's story didn't just shift, it went viral. And now the pressure to perform isn't just about stats, It's about living up to the mythology that's already forming around him. While Browns fans are celebrating the rise of Shedeur Sanders, one team out there isn't caught up in the hype: the Baltimore Ravens. Week 1 is no longer a soft launch for Cleveland's rookie quarterback. It's a primetime showdown against one of the NFL's most aggressive, well-coached defenses, a unit that thrives on pressuring quarterbacks with decades more experience than Sanders. And you better believe they're already game planning like sharks spotting blood in the water. Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald has reportedly scrapped his original playbook and constructed a new one, customized for one purpose: confuse and punish a rookie quarterback under national pressure. Insiders say they're working overtime installing exotic blitz packages, disguised coverages, and simulated pressure looks, specifically designed to force mistakes and speed up Sanders' internal clock. One Ravens defender reportedly said in a team meeting, "He's talented, no question, but Sundays in the league? That's when we separate the creators from the imitators." Ravens All-Pro corner Marlon Humphrey was asked about facing Shedeur on Media Day. On the surface, he was respectful. "He's got talent. You can see the confidence. I respect it, but this isn't college anymore. We're not here to help you build your brand." That's not just a quote. That's a challenge. Baltimore thrives on these moments, when the media builds somebody up and hands them over to the wolves. It motivates them, sharpens them, and it's not just about rattling a rookie. It's about sending a message to the Browns, to the league, and to every marketing firm behind this rise. We don't care about your story. We're here to ruin it. Because while fans are scripting fairy tales, the Ravens are cooking schemes. And when the game clock starts, everything Shedeur has done to earn this spotlight, practice habits, leadership, poise, will be replaced by real pressure. Edge rushers in his face, linebackers baiting his eyes, defensive backs jumping routes. This is where narratives either get validated or erased. Sunday isn't just his debut. It's his trial. On the road, under the lights, against killers. And Baltimore, they're already licking their chops. In a matter of days, everything changed. What started as a fierce quarterback competition suddenly became a tragedy, a controversy, and a viral movement. All unfolding before Shedeur Sanders had played a single regular season snap. But now, there's no hiding, no rotation, no speculation. This is his team. The media can debate karma. Fans can argue politics, performance, or poise. Coaches can fine-tune the scheme. But when kickoff comes and the lights turn on in week 1, it all comes down to one player in that huddle: Shedeur Sanders. Some call him lucky, others call him lightning in a bottle. But however he got here, he's now carrying expectations larger than most rookies could ever imagine. He's walking into his first ever NFL game with a fractured locker room finally looking to him for stability. A franchise that's built its offense around his style in 2 weeks. A national fan base that demands he justifies the hype. And a historically elite Ravens defense waiting to test every inch of his preparation. Win or lose, Shedeur won't be judged by completion percentage or quarterback rating. He'll be judged by how he handles the moment. Can he calm the storm? Can he lead 10 grown men who just trusted in someone else? Can he read Baltimore's schemes fast enough to survive? Because if he does, even in a loss, he wins. He proves he belongs. Not because of injury or jersey sales or a viral story, but because when pressure came, when the noise peaked, when the whole football world leaned in to watch, he showed up. And if he doesn't, if the game is too fast, the defense too deadly, he'll still wake up the next morning as the leader of this team. Because unlike most rookie QBs, Shedeur isn't just filling in for the injured starter. He is the starter. And now he owns everything that comes with that title. This journey didn't start with a fair shot. It started with controversy, with doubt, with backlash. But it ends one way, and one way only, with Shedeur Sanders on that field, under the lights, writing the next chapter himself.